Find all real and imaginary roots of the polynomial equation x to the fourth minus 5x squared minus 36 is equal to 0. So we will begin by writing down our equation, x to the fourth minus 5x squared minus 36 is equal to 0. This is of quadratic form, and I'll note that x squared times x squared is x to the fourth. Put that over here. X squared multiplied by x squared is equal to x to the fourth. So I'm going to try and factor this, and what I want to know is, are there two numbers whose product is equal to negative 36 and sum is equal to negative 5. So I want the product to be negative, and I want the sum also to be negative. So in order for the product to be negative, I'd want to consider a negative number and a positive number. Since the sum is negative, I'd want the larger of the two numbers to be negative. So I'll consider 1 multiplied by negative 36. This product is negative 36. And then the sum, 1 plus negative 36, is equal to negative 35. And that's not what I want. I want the sum to be negative 5. I'll try another pair of numbers. Maybe 2. 2 times negative 18 is negative 36. 2 plus negative 18 is negative 16. Getting closer to that sum of negative 5, but still not negative 5. So another factor of 36 is 3. 3 times negative 12 is negative 36. 3 plus negative 12 is negative 9. Again, not the sum that we want. 4. 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. And 4 plus negative 9 is negative 5. And there's our pair of numbers. The product is negative 36, and the sum is negative 5. So what I want to do is I want to factor this as such. I know that x squared multiplied by x squared is x to the fourth. And since the leading coefficient here is a 1, I can go ahead and use the two numbers that I just located. So that is, we have x squared plus 4 and x squared minus 9 as the factorization. And I'll take a moment and check that by foiling. X squared times x squared is x to the fourth. So the first terms check out. The last terms, 4 times negative 9 is negative 36. So that checks out with the constant there. And now I'm going to consider outer and inner. So outer, x squared times negative 9 is negative 9x squared. Inner, plus 4x squared. So a negative 9x squared plus 4x squared is equal to that negative 5x squared that we have here in the middle. So there is a factorization of the equation x to the fourth minus 5x squared minus 36. So now what I want to do is use the zero product rule and set each of these factors equal to 0. So I have x squared plus 4 is equal to 0, and x squared minus 9 is equal to 0. And I'm going to solve each of these using the square root property. So here I'll subtract 4 from both sides, and I have x squared is equal to negative 4. To completely isolate x, square root both sides, And I get x is equal to, these are inverse operations of one another. And I have the plus or minus because I introduced the square root. So x is equal to plus or minus the square root of -4. So since we have a negative underneath the square root, that comes out as an I, and the square root of 4 is 2. So plus or minus 2I. In a similar manner here, I'll add 9 to both sides. So I have x squared is equal to 9, square root both sides, square rooting the square, that undoes that operation. And I have x is equal to, take the plus or minus case here, plus or minus the square root of 9, which is 3. And so the roots of the polynomial equation are plus or minus 2I and plus or minus 3. And so we have found all real and imaginary roots of the polynomial equation.